Good morning, students. So we'll move on to the next topic, that is instruction execution and straight line sequencing. So in previous class, we were discussing about what exactly instruction should be. So how we can write different types of instruction, because in previous class we were discussing about register transfer notation also. Without using any assembly notations, we were able to write some set of instruction using general purpose registers, right? Okay. So regarding register transfer notation, we discussed later. Basic instruction type, one of the important topic from module number 1. Uh, in that, single address instruction, two address instruction, and later three address instruction. Okay. So with example, we discussed. I hope you don't have doubt about those topics. So we'll move on to the next one. That is instruction execution and straight line sequence. So here we got two different topics: instruction execution as a first half, okay, and second half straight line sequencing. Okay, straight line sequencing is very simple topic, but here we need to discuss a few concepts of basic operational concept. Okay, so from first class, what we discussed, basic operational concept of a computer. Okay, like how instruction will be fetched from the memory to the processor, and finally how it will be executed. Okay, the communication between memory and the processor, we already discussed about this. Okay, few concepts of those we need to discuss again over here while discussing instruction execution. Okay, fine. So here we got same set of example, like just observe, we have A and B, two operands we have, and the operator we are using over here is plus. Okay, it means we need to compute the addition operation between A and B. So these are the two different variable like A and B. Okay, so between that we need to compute the addition. So whatever the result we get, so that should be uploaded for another variable or another memory location. We are calling it we are labeling it as what? C exactly. A plus B, result should go for C. Okay. Same thing, if I want to represent using a assembly language, okay, then how it will be? Okay, move A comma R naught. See, R naught is destination, A is source. Okay, so value of R naught, a copy of A will be stored inside R naught now. Okay, then later add B comma R naught. So value of B will be added to content of R naught. See, previously R naught consists of what? Value of A exactly. Value of A exactly. Okay, so whatever the previous result we had in the R naught, that will be erased and we are overwriting it with value of A exactly. So R naught consists of value of A now. Then add B. So value of B will be added to R naught. Okay, means we are done with this operation. Okay, value of A should be added with value of B. Now R naught consists of what? Summation of A and B, right? Okay, now move R naught comma C. So this is what, how we are shifting the result of A plus B to location C exactly. Clear? So this is what the instruction, three instructions, we can see how we can compute A plus B, result should move for C exactly. Fine. Okay. Now we'll see the memory representation. So here we got a memory representation. Just observe. Okay, so this is 32-bit memory representation. We are beginning with a memory location called as a I. Okay, so the second line will be stored with what? I plus 4. Okay, because total how many bytes we will be having? Total 1, 2, 3, 4 bytes will be having. If I start naming it as 0, 1, 2, and 3, so what will be the next one? So 4. What is the difference between these two? Word address. 4 is the difference. Okay, between these two, again 4 will be the difference. That's why I plus 4, I plus 8, I plus 12, like that we start assigning the address for these words. Clear? Okay, I hope you don't have any doubt regarding this I plus 4 and I plus 8. Okay, so these are the address for this particular line. Fine. Along with this instruction, okay, we are using some variable names over here, right? The operand, we are using some name over here. Okay, so A, just observe, We have a operand called as A, we have operand called as B, and we have operand called as C exactly. Okay, so we may write a program to add the value of A with value of B. Then obviously we need to ask the user to enter the value of A and enter the value of B. Okay, so we may write like printf, enter the value of A, then scanf. Okay, so address of A, ampersand of A, we need to write exactly, right, in case of scanf. So that means wherever this A is located, okay, there we need to upload the value which has been uploaded or which has been entered by the user. Remember this. Okay, so if I substitute value of A is equal to 5, okay, from the screen, okay, if I expect user to enter the value of A, and if user has entered the value of A is equal to 5, then that 5 will be stored in this particular location. Okay, why? Because in the scanf, we are writing it as what? Ampersand of A, right? Is it right? Okay, then how to get the value of B? Ampersand of B we need to mention in our scanf. That indicates whatever the result or whatever the value is entered by the user for a B, okay, should be uploaded in the particular address. Okay, what is that address? This particular address, B. Clear? So let me consider it as value of B is equal to 4. Clear? What about C? C we need to compute, right? Okay, C we need to compute exactly. So, so this is what the memory arrangement, what we can observe for this particular program. Clear? Okay, in the location I, we have move A comma R naught. In location I plus 4, add B comma R naught, and location I plus 8, move R naught comma C we have. So these three lines, just we have two different, okay, section over here, just observe. Okay, so this is what the contents we call it as. So whatever we have over here, that we are calling it as a content. So whatever we have over here, that we are representing it as address or label. Remember this, address or label. So here A we are mentioning, right? Actually, this is not a original address. This is not a original address. Remember, so here some address will be mentioned. Okay, so when we discuss the topics of system software, okay, then you will be having better knowledge about this. So this is what one label we are having. This is what one label, okay, using which I can identify this particular location. Clear? Okay, this is what the label exactly. Fine. So here you can write it as address or label. So these are the original address, remember. Okay, and these are the variable address. By using their variable name we are identifying, that's why we are calling it as label. Clear? Okay, so in this section we are calling it as data for the program. What we call data for the program. And here whatever the lines we are having, so that we are calling it as instruction program segment. Okay, so here three lines we are having, that's why three instruction program segment we are calling it as. Okay, and this is what the beginning like location where we start the execution from here. Okay, so this is what the point from where exactly we will begin the execution. Remember. Clear? Okay, fine. Now we'll see what, so this is what the representation of this particular program inside the memory. Clear? Okay, then now then what is the use of this program counter and instruction register? As usual, okay, how we discussed under basic operational concept. Okay, program counter will be pointing for the memory location which should be fetched in future. Okay, so initially it will be pointing for this particular location. When your processor start fetching this instruction, okay, then it will be pointing for this. When the processor complete the execution of this particular line, and when he try to fetch the second line, again he will be pointing for next instruction over there. So this is what the job of your program counter. So one after the other, okay, instruction should be executed. Because of that, program counter will be keep on incrementing the content of that particular register. Okay, fine, like program counter register, so that it can point for like next instruction continuously. Okay, starting from the 0 to the end of the program. Okay, this cycle repeats exactly. Okay, fine. Now what is the job of this instruction register? Okay, we already know. So whenever we read or whenever we fetch any particular instruction, okay, there will be having two different section. Okay, so one we call it as operation. Okay, second we call it as operand, right? Second we call it as operand. In case of operand, again we have two sections. One will be called as a source and second will be called as destination exactly. Okay, so whenever we find these kind of instruction, okay, so out of that whatever the operation we are having, so this should be shifted for Okay, so this should be shifted for instruction register. Remember this. Okay, if we are encountering the operand, like whether it may be source or whether it may be destination. Okay, so whenever we get these kind of source and destination, okay, so the content will be inside the memory address, memory data register, that we are calling it as MDR. So MDR to some temporary location, we need to shift them, okay, for operational purpose. Okay, while execution, both source and destination must be available inside the processor. So source value will be managed under any general purpose register except the destination register. Remember, okay, here destination register is what? R0. So we cannot touch R0 over here. So instead of R0, okay, if I want, I can utilize R2. So source content value of A, I can shift it for R2. Okay, so from R2, we can move the value of A to R0. Okay, this is what the temporary storage over here. Okay, temporary storage we are utilizing over here. That's it. Okay, so this we already discussed. Okay, how this instruction will be executed and all. Okay, we are just glancing now. Fine. So program counter will be pointing for the next instruction which should be executed. Okay, then instruction register will be holding the operation, okay, which is mentioned in that particular instruction. Fine. Okay, then how your processor is going to execute this particular instruction? Okay, that is what the big question. Okay, there will be two phases. Okay, so how we are mentioned over here, the first one will be instruction fetch and second will be instruction execution. What does this instruction fetch stand for? Okay, see, all these instructions are residing in our memory. Remember this. Okay, each and every bit of information which should be executed by your processor is residing inside the memory itself. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to collect this information from memory and it should be transferred it for the processor. Fine. So this process we call it as instruction fetch. Okay, you may be saying like, okay, fine, your processor may be, or your program counter may be pointing for this particular instruction. Okay, so move A comma R0 will be shifted for the processor. Wrong. Okay, see ya, move we have, right? Okay, what is move? Move is a assembly language notation exactly. Okay, so in the back end of that, there will be some binary code that should be shifted. Remember this. Okay, move is a mnemonic which we can understand. Remember, okay, in the back end of this word move, there is a particular binary number, okay, which represents move operation. Remember this. Okay, so that should be transferred for processor exactly. Then it will go inside instruction register. Remember this. Then later, next just observe, okay, we are having two things. What is that? One is source and one is destination. Now when it comes for source, what is this? A exactly. What is the value of A? We don't know. Okay, so what we need to do, whether we know the value of A over here, we don't know. Then what we need to do, we need to establish a communication between these two sections. What is that? Program instruction section and later data section. Okay, inside the memory there will be two sections. One is what for storing the instruction and one is for managing the respective data, whatever we are using in this instruction. Okay, so we need to have a communication between these two. Okay, if I want to send the value of A, then what I need to do, I need to have a communication between this data section and the instruction section over here. So inside this, we got to know like as value of A is 5 and value of B is 4. Okay, so now after having a communication, yes, we got to know like what is the value residing inside this particular label. Okay, what is that? 5 exactly. Now 5 will be shifted for any temporary location. Okay, inside the processor, I will utilize R2 exactly. It is optional. Okay, like if processor want, it can use R2, it can go for R1 or any general purpose register, but except the destination register. Remember, R0 is reserved. Okay, R0 is reserved in this particular instruction. Remember this. Okay, so we cannot utilize the R0. Apart from R0, your processor can utilize any other general purpose register to hold the source operand for temporary based. Clear? Okay, fine. Now this value of A will be also transferred for the processor. Okay, so that the execution process can begin over there. Then what about this destination? Destination is already inside the processor, so no worry exactly. Okay, once we are done with this instruction fetch, okay, what is that? Get the binary representation of move, get the original value of this particular memory location A. Okay, if that is done, okay, then we can go for instruction execution. Okay, what we need to do, what will be the value? Whatever the value residing inside the R0, that will be overrated by the value of A exactly. Clear? Okay, so this is how your processor fetch the instruction, and how it execute the instruction. Fine. Okay. So we are done with the instruction execution. Okay. Now, what exactly straight line sequencing means? Okay. Straight line sequencing. Okay. Name only indicates straight line. Okay. Along with that, some sequence. Along with that, some sequence. When we call it as sequence, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you are following this order, okay, first you are executing the first line, which is represented by 0, second line represented by 1, like that, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one after the other, without skipping any particular line or without skipping any particular instruction, then we are calling it as, yes, it is following, or our program is following straight line sequencing. Clear? Okay. Then, yes, for what purpose we are mentioning that begins execution over here? Okay, because of this straight line sequencing. Okay, so whenever we try to execute any particular program, okay, so we will begin with the first line. Remember, we don't begin with the line number 100. Okay, if your complete program is of 200 line, okay, we won't begin our execution from line number 100 or 150. Okay, we will begin with line number 1 itself. Clear? Okay, starting from line number 1 till we reach the line number 200. Okay, we will be executing one after the other. Okay, like instructions one after the other. Line number 1, first instruction. Line number 2, second instruction. After executing the third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, till 100 or till 200 exactly. Okay, if your program or if your compiler is following this particular sequence, then we call it as, yes, we are following what? Straight line sequencing of instruction execution. Okay, then you may ask, okay, like whether it is possible to skip few lines, or whether we are able to violate this straight line sequence or what. Yes, we are able. Okay, but if you want to perform such kind of breaking that sequence, okay, we need to go for using a keyword or else a loop kind of keyword called as a branching. Okay, if you are using this branching statement, yes, we are able to skip few lines forward and skip few lines, okay, backward also. Okay, we call it as, like, if your branching statement is mentioned over here, okay, according to some condition, we can jump few lines forward, okay, or else we can jump few line backwards over there. Okay, so using a keyword called as a branching, yes, we can violate this straight line sequence. Other than this, we cannot. Remember this, students. Okay, so usually we'll be representing or we will be executing our instruction in a straight line fashion itself. Okay, next we'll discuss what exactly branching means. Then what is the syntax of using branching instruction? Okay, so here we got one example. Okay, just forget about the branching. Okay, like I have a task of adding total 100 number. Okay, so n will be equal to 100. I want to add each and every number. Okay, and result should be stored in a location called as a sum. Okay, so 100 number, remember this, student, 100 number, 1 to 100 I want to add. 1 should be added with 2, then later result should be added with 3, later result should be added with 4, 5, 6 till 100 exactly. So up to now, whatever the instruction we discussed, okay, according to that, if we start writing a program, okay, then just observe the first number, okay, that is what the num1 will be shifted to R0. Okay, just be with me, I will explain this. Okay, move num1 comma R0. So R0 is having the first number. According to my example, first number is what? 1 exactly. Then later R0 is consisting of what? First number. Okay, what is my job? Okay, what is the job of this program exactly? We need to add each and every number with each other. Okay, then finally we need to send a result to the location called as a sum. Okay, fine. The first number will be moved to R0. Then the second number will be added to R0. Right? Okay, 1 plus 2. Now R0 has become 3. Okay, now what is the third number? Number 3 is exactly. 3 will be added to R0. Already R0 is having value 3. Plus 3, it has become 6 exactly. Like that. Okay, how many times I need to write this statement, such kind of statement, add statement? Total n number of times I need to write these lines. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 till n exactly. Okay, means if I want to add total 100 number, then 100 such lines I need to write over here. Is it? Okay, fine. So after writing total 100 different line, okay, using these kind of basic version of assembly language notations, okay, we are able to get the result inside a R naught. The summation of n number. Yes, we are having the summation of n numbers inside this particular register R naught exactly. Later, move R naught comma sum. Okay, so the value of R naught will be transferred it for a location called as system. Yes, job is done. Okay, but how many lines we are utilizing over here? That is what the big question, right? Okay, we are making our compiler busy with unnecessary lines over here. Okay, so instead of this, can we simplify this program? See total how many like 101 line we are writing to add 100 number. Okay, instead of that, are we able to write this same program within 7 to 8 lines? Yes, it is possible. Okay, what we need to do, we need to design some loop. That's it. How we are having a for loop, same kind we are using over here is a branch loop. Okay, like we are checking for some condition. If that condition satisfy, there will be some specified target. Okay, where we need to jump. Clear? Okay, for that specified target we need to jump. Again we need to compute the cycle. Okay, then later again we need to check the condition. If condition hold good, or else if it is true, then go to that particular location. Okay, so this is what the working principle of branching exactly. So same example we'll consider now. Okay, so here just observe the same program we are trying to write over here. Fine. So move n comma r1. Okay, what is the value of n? N is equal to 100, right? Okay, fine. We'll see what is that. What is the particular logic we are using over here? Move n comma r1. So r1 is a general purpose register which is holding value called as 100. Clear? Okay, fine. R1 is holding value called as 100. Okay, let it be. Then whatever the R0 value which is already having, okay, that should be cleared it for 0. Or else reset also we call it as. Clear R0 means reset the value of R0. So already in previous cycle or in previous instruction, R0 may be having some value. Okay, that should be made clear to 0 exactly. Okay, you may ask like in previous program why we are not doing. See, move num1 comma R0. Okay, this is nothing but we are overwriting the value of R0 with num1 value exactly. Okay, but here we are not doing that. Okay, because of that we are using a clear R0. Okay, so value of R0 should be set to 0 exactly. Okay, so here just observe what we have. For this particular line, we are naming it as loop or we are labeling it as loop. Okay, just consider 0, 4, 8, okay, then 12, 16, like that we are having address over here. Okay, so according to this location, it should be 8 exactly. For location 8, I am labeling it as loop. Okay, I tell you why it is so. Okay, for location 8, we are labeling it as loop exactly. Okay, I tell you why it is. Then later, over here, just observe, we are writing some sentence over here, like determine address of next number and add next number to R0. Okay, so you may ask like why we are writing like this instead of writing the instruction. Okay, so when we discuss the addressing mode concept, okay, later we are able to write over here. Okay, for time being, we don't have much information about those lines, what this sentence should be replaced. Okay, because we need to use different kind of addressing modes over here. Because of that, okay, like we are not writing over here. Okay, because in next class I will be discussing about the addressing mode topic. Okay, later I will come back to this particular program. Okay, for time being, you just consider like yes, in this total 2 to 3 lines will be replaced over here. Okay, so determine address of next number and add next number to R0. So this is what the job of this particular section. Okay, fine. Later, after that, like after determining the next number, after adding that number to the R0, what we need to do? We need to decrement R1. Clear? Okay, so what we are performing over here, find the next number, add it to R0. So that is what the job we are performing over here. After every add, observe here, after every add, we are decrementing the R1. One number you are adding, one time decrement we are doing. Second number you are adding, second time decrement we are performing. Okay, means when you perform the addition of all the n numbers, then the R1 value will be 0. Is it right? R1 value will be 0 over there. Okay, just for the loop purpose, just for checking the condition, we are using this. Okay, and remember, after this decrement R1, what we have? Branch greater than 0. Okay, branch greater than 0. Okay, what does this branch stand for? This is what the keyword, okay, using which we are checking for some condition. Okay, in for loop, what we do, what is the condition? I must be greater than or equal to 0, we say. Okay, in the previous session or somewhere, int I is equal to 4, we are going to check. Okay, so such kind of arrangement we will be having in our C programming and all, right? Okay, but here we are not initializing what is the value of R naught or what is the value of branch exactly. Sorry, what is the value of branch exactly? Okay, so just observe in the previous line, whatever the mentioned register we have, okay, so that we are comparing with this 0. Remember this. Clear? I hope you understood. Branch, okay, we are mentioning, right? Branch must be greater than 0. That is what the condition we are checking. So what value we are comparing with? Okay, in the previous line, whatever the register, whatever the value we are specified with, that value will be compared with 0 now. Clear? Okay. So now branch greater than 0 means R1. Okay. Inside that whatever value we have, that should be compared with 0. If R1 value is greater than 0, then where I need to jump? Okay. Where I need to jump? I have a label mentioned in front of this branch. Okay. What is that? Loop. Right? What is that? Loop exactly. Where we have loop? Here. Okay. If I change the sequence, execution sequence of compiler, and if I begin execution from here, then what I need to do over here? Determine the next number. Second number will be determined. Second number will be added to R0. Obviously. Okay. Then again decrement R1. Second time we are decrementing the R1. Then the value of R1 is 98. Right? Value of R1 will be 98. Yes, 98 is greater than 0. Again go to loop. It continues. Okay, once we are done with adding all the n number, that is nothing but 100 number, branch or else R0, sorry, R1 will become equal to 0, right? R0 has become equal to 0. Now branch, whether it is greater than 0, no. So this condition fail and we are not going to jump for a location loop. Okay, so what we do? We will start executing the next line. What is that next line? Move R0 comma sum. What is the R0 value? Okay, R0 is having summation of n number. Clear? Summation of n number. So that addition of all 100 number will be transferred it for location sum exactly. Clear? Okay, students. So this is of now. So we'll meet in next class.